I came home to find strangers tearing my house apart. A demolition crew on my property ripping down the walls I'd spent months restoring. Diesel fumes hung in the cold air. My 100-year-old oak staircase lay splintered on the lawn, and right there, clipboard in hand, was Darlene Van Camp, the HOA president, smiling like she'd just done the neighborhood a favor. She told me I'd abandoned the place. No apology, no shame. Just pure satisfaction. 6 months earlier, I'd bought that house, Thornhill Manor, at a county auction for $127,000. A wrecked 1920s lakefront mansion on Lake Matthias, upstate New York. 2 acres, 6 bedrooms, 200 feet of private shoreline. It was the kind of house my grandmother Estelle used to cut out of magazines and tape inside her closet door. One day, baby, she'd whisper, "We'll have a place like that?" She never did, but I swore I would. I'm Marcus McMichael. 20 years, Navy Seabees Construction Battalion. I've built bridges in war zones, airstrips in deserts, bunkers under fire. I thought I'd seen chaos. Turns out I hadn't met an HOA yet. The first time I saw Thornhill, it looked like something from a horror set. Broken windows, vines through the siding roof, sagging like a tired spine. Still, when the sun hit that carved oak newel post by the stairs, I knew there was a heartbeat left. I could bring it back. I planned 18 months of restoration, foundation, roof wiring, woodwork, all myself. Day 3, a white Lexus rolls up and this woman steps out, pastel sweater hair sprayed into a helmet. She didn't even wait for me to say hello. "Mr. McMichael, I'm Darlene Van Camp, chair of the Architectural Review Board for Lakeview Estates. Thornhill violates 17 codes and 4 covenants. You have 30 days to submit for approval." I blinked. "Ma'am, I'm not in an HOA. The deed says nothing about it." Her smile tightened. "Oh, sweetheart, the plat map was amended in 2003. You bought in whether you knew it or not." She wouldn't even step onto my gravel drive like poverty might be contagious. Got back in her Lexus and left dust in my face. I Googled her that night: real estate broker, planning commission vice chair, widow of a county judge. A woman used to getting her way. 2 weeks later, I turned in 40 pages of stamped plans. She rejected them in 72 hours, said my materials weren't in keeping with neighborhood character. I appealed. The hearing room smelled like burnt coffee and fake flowers. Darlene mispronounced my name 3 times, and her buddy Ron, a retired dentist with baby powder skin, glanced at my leg brace and said, "You sure you can handle a project this size given your situation?" I smiled through my teeth. Guess we'll find out. They didn't want safety. They wanted control. A week later, the county inspector showed up with a red tag stop work order. Claimed my foundation survey was off by 18 inches. My surveyor swore it was perfect. Turns out the error came from the Permit Review Committee. Vice Chair signature, Darlene Van Camp. That night my contractor called, said he couldn't afford to wait 2 months for the county to reapprove paperwork. I told him I understood. Then I sat alone on the bare staircase, wind pouring through half-framed walls, and wondered if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Maybe my daughter was right. Maybe Thornhill was a teardown. Maybe I should sell to some developer and walk away. I stared at that oak post under my hand, smooth, cold, solid, and I heard my grandma's voice again. One day, baby. I wasn't quitting. Next morning, I drove it to the county archives. 3 nights of microfilm and stale coffee later, I found it the amendment Darlene kept waving around. It was never ratified by the county. Just a town council vote. Illegal spot zoning. And every signature belonged to Darlene's inner circle, her dead judge husband Ron. 2 other board members, all of whom owned property next to mine. Their home values had jumped 30% right after. I scanned everything, wrote a 6-page report, and emailed it to the town council, the local paper, and the state attorney general's HOA fraud hotline. Hit send at 11:47 p.m. By Friday, Darlene called. "Marcus," she cooed. Using my first name, now Chin. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. Let's have coffee, work this out like neighbors." I told her I'll take my coffee at the next council meeting. 2 weeks later, I walked into the HOA meeting, ready to present my findings. Every seat already had a glossy flyer headline. Safety concerns at Thornhill Manor. She accused me of contaminating the lake, attracting trespassers, running unlicensed wiring, complete fiction printed on thick cardstock. When public comment opened, I connected my phone to their projector. Before you vote, I said you should see this. The screen lit up security footage from my cameras. Ron dumping a bag of beer cans on my lawn at 11 p.m. Clear as day. Then, lab results: zero pollution near my shoreline but high bacteria near Darlene's rental address. And a letter from a VA lawyer friend explaining that her nuisance demolition bylaw was retroactive and illegal. I looked straight at her. Mrs. Van Camp, maybe this isn't about codes. Maybe you just can't stand the idea of someone like me, guy with a limp and a VA check, owning a piece of this lake. Either way, I'm not going anywhere. The room froze. The reporter in the back started clapping. Darlene's face flushed crimson. She grabbed her purse and left without adjourning. I thought that might be the end of it. I was wrong. Next week, I got hit with 3 citations: overgrown vegetation, open foundation, hazardous materials. All lies. Each fine $500 per day. 15 grand total. I sat in my camper bills spread out like a losing hand, November wind cutting through the canvas. My knee throbbed. For the first time, I honestly thought about quitting. Then my phone rang. Lyle, my old contractor. Marcus, what she's doing is garbage. I can't do full-time, but weekends I'm yours. Free. My kids need to see a man stand up to bullies. 10 minutes later, Elena, my neighbor, called. I saw who dumped that raccoon on your porch. Ron's brother-in-law. I'll sign a statement. That same night, Beth from the local paper messaged me, found 3 prior HOA cases Darlene buried under NDAs. Keep feeding me facts. And just like that, I wasn't fighting alone anymore. Then, Darlene filed a lien against my property, claimed I owed 6 months of HOA dues to a group I was never part of. My bank threatened to call the loan. My lawyer friend Rick nearly laughed. Marcus filing a false lien's a misdemeanor. She just gift-wrapped evidence for us. He sent a demand letter. 48 hours later, the lien vanished. But the story didn't. Beth ran it, Veteran Battles HOA overreach. 3rd page, but in a town of 8,000, that's front page damage. People started showing up at Thornhill. Lyle with his tools, Elena with food, veterans from the VFW bringing lumber. Even Phyllis, Darlene's old bridge partner, arrived with a pumpkin pie and a note. I was a coward. Thank you for showing me the difference. For the first time in months, laughter filled that house. When Darlene's empire started to crumble, she panicked. First the inspections, then the lien. Then, one night at 3 a.m., a truck dumped 2 tons of broken drywall and asbestos-labeled bags on my driveway. A setup. My final inspection was in 5 hours. I didn't panic. I filmed everything, time-stamped, VIN number barely covered under the tarp. When the county inspector arrived with a sheriff, I played the footage. That truck, I said, belongs to Ron's brother-in-law. The deputy watched, then turned to the inspector. This is a crime scene. By noon, hazmat crews in white suits were bagging evidence. I mailed Darlene an invoice for $200 cleanup costs, plus a note. Consider this payment for your desperation. Days later, Ron resigned from the board. The DA added property sabotage and witness intimidation to Darlene's growing file, and then mid-December she showed up. I was installing cabinet handles when I heard a car roll up, quiet, expensive. Her white Lexus. She sat there for a full minute, engine idling, before cracking the window 2 inches. Makeup couldn't hide the sleepless nights. Marcus, she said, voice tight, I'd like to make you an offer. $300,000 cash. We close in 30 days. You walk away clean. No lawsuit, no hard feelings. And I'll make sure the DA drops the case. I leaned against my truck, arms crossed. You don't have that kind of pull anymore. Your license is suspended. Your business is gone. You can't make a DA drop anything. Her hands went white-knuckle on the steering wheel. You don't know what I can still do. I have friends, connections, people who owe me. Had friends, I said. Past tense. And this house isn't for sale, not to you. That's when the mask cracked. You stupid, stubborn man, this place should have been mine. I built this town and you You limp in here with your sob story and your cameras think you deserve this because you got hurt playing soldier. I let her finish, then I nodded toward my caller. See that black dot body cam? Recording since you pulled in. One-party consent state. You just confessed to bribery and witness tampering. Her eyes went wide. She slammed the Lexus into reverse tires, shrieking, and tore down the road. I uploaded the footage that night, sent copies to Rick, Beth, and the Cloud. 30 seconds of her rant made the evening news. A guy like you doesn't deserve property. The headline wrote itself. The DA added new charges: attempted bribery, abuse of office. The town council dissolved the HOA's review board entirely. 80 homeowners withdrew their membership in a week. And when the day finally came for the public hearing, the town hall overflowed. Reporters, neighbors, veterans, everyone packed shoulder to shoulder. Darlene sat in the front row, pearl necklace lawyer beside her, hands trembling in her lap. The district attorney called my name first. I walked to the podium. No notes, just the truth. My grandmother, Estelle McMichael, used to clip pictures of lake houses from magazines. She never owned one. When I bought Thornhill Manor, I wasn't trying to make a profit. I was trying to finish her dream. Darlene Van Camp tried to take that not because of rules, but because she thought someone like me didn't belong. She failed. Not because I'm special, but because people here decided to stand up instead of look away. The room erupted. Applause, cheers, tears. When the DA asked Darlene if she wanted to speak, she stood eyes glassy and said only 3 words: "I have none." Then she sat. Silence. Someone in the back whispered, "Coward." The judge's gavel hit once. Charges confirmed. Bail $50,000. Real estate license revoked pending sentencing. That's where I'll end it. Because the moment her power broke, that's the victory. Not the money, not the headlines, just that instant when the bully realizes the game's over. Sometimes justice doesn't roar, it exhales. Lesson learned. You can rebuild a house, but when you rebuild your courage, no one can ever demolish that.